where we fuck around so you can find out. I hope everybody's doing well out there in this shithole we call the United States of America. Um, Used to be a great place. Now it's unfortunately become, somewhat of a shithole because of the antics of the government, right? The local government, the state government. I'll leave the federal government alone right now. I'll leave the state government alone too. There's plenty of problems, but really the majority of our problems can be summed up very simply. The local government is trash, and I'm talking about the city of Wayne, Michigan, talking about their scummery. So the city of Wayne, Michigan has effectively outlawed all open burning in the city of Wayne. They are attempting to pass, or have passed, a new ordinance called 2025-02, which essentially outlaws open burning in the city of Wayne, Michigan. As it's written, now will it actually be enforced that way? Somehow I doubt it. Somehow I think it's going to be more of the same. But they are actually, for the first time ever, they're going to have somewhat of a codified ordinance and enact an ordinance for open burning. Although it's still void for vagueness for a few different reasons. They basically put on there that they're allowed to do whatever they want, that they're allowed to just trespass on private property without a warrant to abate something that at most would be considered a nuisance. But a smoldering fire pit, that's no reason to violate the Fourth Amendment, right? So they apparently are still going to violate the Fourth Amendment. That's what they've written down. Which is void for vagueness doctrine, Welsh versus Wisconsin, people versus, or I guess, Jardines. I don't know, U.S. versus Jardines, or Florida versus Jardines, or people versus Jardines, but Jardines and Welsh, and there's a good amount of case law. Lange, Lange, that says that that's just not how it works. So, well, City of Wayne likes to do what they do. So they're, I guess this is their idea, right? Is that they can put on paper that they have a right to violate your rights, and then somehow that makes it okay to violate your rights, I guess, right? It's like the circular logic, right? The dog chasing its tail. And it's not how it works. That's not how the supremacy cause works. Get as petty as they are. Oh, yeah, we're going to get much more pettier. We're going to out-petty the petty, of course. And, we're going to be illustrating the fact that this open burn that they've passed, this open burn ordinance that they're trying to pass, is void for vagueness, for one. It invites arbitrary enforcement, capricious enforcement, and it's in violation of the Fourth Amendment and really the 14th Amendment, because there's no due process. If the government can just walk onto your property without a warrant for something that, a fire pit's not an emergency. It's not a life or death situation, generally speaking. And the way that their ordinance is written now, you can't have a fire within 50 feet of a lot line or a property line or a structure. And so that means that basically 90 to 95% of all the properties in Wayne can no longer burn at all, because, let's face it, the city of Wayne has got very small lots, right? I don't think there's, basically in order to even have a fire pit, how that ordinance is written, you would have to have at least 100 foot by 100 foot property. And that would be assuming that the fire pit is dead center in the middle. And even then, you would still be technically a couple feet in violation. So you'd have to have a property that's over 100 feet by 100 feet. So like if you have there's some lots on Wayne on the west side, on Glenwood here, that are 150 feet roughly of frontage. So in those particular contexts, some of those properties might be able to have a fire pit. There's probably about maybe 10 or 11 that I've identified that can even legally have a fire pit. Now, mine being one of them, I have the biggest lot in the city of Wayne at almost 3 acres. And so, I would be okay as far as that goes. No, grills are fine. Wood smokers are fine. Those little portable, I guess, heaters are fine. You have to read the new ordinance. It's on the city agenda on the City of Wayne website. I don't have it printed off in front of me. Although, on my next video, I will print it off and I will state for the record, and I will be submitting it into the city council meeting. I will be submitting into the record why it's void for vagueness, just like I'm going to put in the record why the previous open burn policy that was never codified is void for vagueness. And then we're going to look at the similarities. Yeah, well, it's already on the agenda. It's already proposed, and I guess they've signed it. But I think there's like a 45-day process that has to continue. So, obviously I wasn't, I was incarcerated. So they only let me out of jail after they passed it. It was really weird timing, of course. But regardless of what they pass, it doesn't make it enforceable law. I mean, they can pass a law that says we can, the city of Wayne could pass a law saying that we can come and molest you. Well, that doesn't mean that they can legally come and break into your house and molest you. But, trying to tell criminals not to criminal, that's kind of, hard to do sometimes. But we will continue to keep up the good fight as far as making sure that unconstitutional laws and ordinances are not just, they don't go unchallenged, right? So we're going to, of course, always challenge corruption and capricious and arbitrary enforcement and void for vagueness laws, which the City of Wayne City Charter has a plethora of ordinances that are just quite frankly void for vagueness, or vague for voidness, whatever you want to call it. Vague for voidness, void for vagueness. Call it whatever you want to call it, but just because you write something on paper and have a jackass with a gavel slam it on the table and say, "Oh, this is the law," that doesn't make it the law. So the law still has to comply with the federal Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, particularly the 4th, 5th, and 14th Amendments. So if you're passing ordinances that contradict those, and the recognized and practiced case law, right? Case law that's been upheld for 20, 30, 40 years, well, that's a problem. That's a big old problem. And so we're not going to, we're not going to even comply with, capricious laws. And yeah, the process is the punishment. Exactly. That's how this works, right? Well, they passed the ordinance where they can give you 90 days for each day that you open burn illegally, and they can come on your property without a warrant, and that's what they write on paper, and they think that's how it works. So, unfortunately, the Fourth Amendment exists, and they hate it. They hate the Fourth Amendment, but it is the law of the land, supremacy clause. So we're going to continue to follow the U.S. Constitution. We're not going to be following any sort of local ordinances that are void for vagueness and invite arbitrary enforcement. And given the fact that I have the biggest and baddest residential law, and the 14th, of course, because if you don't have any procedural due process, well, that's a problem too. So, 4th and 14th, and I would even say 5th Amendment, because at that point, the government's essentially just saying that we own this property, and if they're claiming that they own the property, then they should just compensate you for it. It's called the takings clause. If they're going to take your property from you because they consider it in the public interest, right? That's their argument, right? Well, then they need to pay you just compensation for it. And so, I mean, it's weird how things change, but somehow they remain the same. It's just very weird how it works. It's more of the same. It's actually worse because is it in the government? Yeah, you would think so. I mean, they act like they're an HOA. They act like they're just have unfettered power to just do what they want. And effectively what they've done is they kind of put themselves in a really bad situation here, because they've effectively made all open burning illegal in the city of Wayne. Unless you have a really large property, which there aren't very many large lots in the city of Wayne. There's only, like I said, maybe 12 to 18 parcels that are even basically allowed to open burn now, according to how it's written. Now, will it actually be enforced that way? No, I don't believe it. I believe that the community development manager, whatever they call that jackass cunt, Lori, Lorigouin, Guin, or Goyd or something. You have to look her up. But Lori, she's the Downtown Development Authority Director or something along that line, some made up title. And, she still has a fire pit in her backyard. She open burns. And so I wonder if she's going to be open burning anymore. She's, of course, friends with the police chief and the fire chief and the building and engineering office. And so I doubt it. I have a funny suspicion that those people that are well perceived, let's say, or the people that are liked in the city of Wayne, I have a strong belief that those people like Lori and Tina Parnell, the city clerk, and, any of the other people on the city council, as well as the shithead mayor, the shitbag mayor, John Racy, I have a feeling that them or any of their friends or family are still going to be allowed to do what they want to do, even though it will be in direct violation of the new ordinance that they're passing. So I find it to be, my inner James Freeman. Yeah, we will be doing that. Of course, we just have to give them 48 hours notice. They need 48 hours notice before I enter any city building. But that's fine. We're going to be in all the city buildings Monday through Friday from 8 to 4. It is going to be treated as a full-time job with a schedule, with a lunch break in the middle, of course. But we are going to be exercising our First Amendment right, freedom of the press, freedom to redress our grievances. And yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. So just like when you go down to City Hall or you go down to the 29th District Court, or if you go down to the police department or the fire department, they all have cameras, right? They're recording you. Well, I'm going to go down and record them. And it's weird. Every time I go down there and record them, I find just open violations of the law. It's so weird. Like I don't, there's no gotcha here, right? I go down there random times and I see what I see, right? I mean, it's like, it's right. If you're going to commit crimes right out in the open, and you're going to commit improprieties right out in the open, and you're going to shitbag it and sandbag it right out in the open, well, that's on you guys. You better tighten up your ship around there, huh? You better take a word of advice from old boy McFarland, because old boy McFarland, he's a little bit out there, but old boy McFarland, he's not wrong though. Old boy McFarland flies a little too close to the sun, and sometimes he gets burnt, but he keeps on flying closer to that sun and closer to that sun, and he's still here. He's still kicking. Yeah, I mean, what did Rush Limbaugh used to say? Act absurd to illustrate absurdity, something like that. I'll have to look up exactly what he said. But yeah, basically, sometimes, guys, here's the lesson of the story. Actually, we're gonna change the title to something along the lines of, you got to act absurd sometimes to illustrate absurdity, right? And sometimes that's what you got to do. Sometimes you have to really teeter that line, so to speak, because some things are bigger than you, some things are bigger than your family, your life, your country. Some things, the principles of truth, justice, and liberty in the pursuit of happiness, those are ideals and principles that stretch far beyond one human's lifetime or a country's lifetime, right? That's humanity's struggle, is the struggle for freedom and liberty and due process and, not having void for vagueness laws weaponized against you. That's fundamental stuff. So we're always going to fight the good fight here. We're never going to stop, even if it means that they're going to kill me, which they might. They very well might. The city of Wayne clearly has it out for me, and they clearly don't want me nosing around with a camera into their affairs. So you have to beg the question, well, why is that? Because I'm a scarecrow, right? I mean, if people don't interact with me and people respect my rights, I'm a scarecrow. I go in, I record what I see, and then I leave. But the fact that you can't even do that in the city of Wayne, Michigan, without, let's just be honest, right? Like just an all-out blitz attack persecution of somebody's First Amendment rights, right? Well, it's a problem. It's a problem for me, and my oath to the U.S. Constitution never expired, right? Like I got out of the Army in 2016. I went to Georgia Military College. I graduated. I was in the Corps of Cadets. And, what I learned throughout all that experience is that an oath, a promise, has no expiration date. Just like if you promise to do something to a dear friend or family member and then they pass away unexpectedly, that oath, that promise must still be upheld. It must still be upheld, and it must still be upholden. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. And that's what we're always going to do. My oath has no expiration date. My oath has no expiration date, and what more can I say? I made an oath to defend the United States Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I took an oath to not follow unlawful orders and unlawful commands. And I'm just crazy enough to hold myself to that standard, to that promise. So that's all I got to say on that. That's all I got to say on that. It's called honor. It's called having honor. It's called having duty. It's called having courage, right? It's called, willing to fall on the sword when everybody else is just standing around, scared and, kind of biting their fingernails, right? You do what's necessary. You do what's needed. You do it without hesitation, right? What did Charlie Plum teach me at Georgia Military College? The prisoner of war, Charlie Plum. Look up his story. Look up his speech that he gave to us at Georgia Military College back in 2019, when he was talking to us about being a prisoner of war and walking back and forth in a cell day after day, month after month, for a cause bigger than yourself, right? And I never forgot that. And when I was sitting in that jail cell, that's all I could think about was Charlie Plum and his story about perseverance and defiance and beating the odds. And then also knowing that you might lose your life. You might lose your life for what you believe in. That you might lose your life for a greater cause. That's something that you have to be willing to accept. That above all else, the only thing that I have is the United States Constitution. That's the only thing that I have. That's the only thing that I hold dear to me outside of my children, outside of my faith, outside of my country. I hold the United States Constitution dear to my heart, and I believe with all of my heart that it is the greatest document ever contrived of. I don't know if that's the word, but it is the greatest document I've ever seen, and it's the greatest document that I've ever laid my eyes upon. And I also would like to thank a very special individual, Josh Abrams, of course. Everybody give a clap for old Joshy over there. But I want you guys to think about, guys. I want you guys to read about a gentleman who I feel exemplifies my story to a T. The father and the founding father of the Dominican Republic, Juan Pablo Duarte, His story should resonate with all of us, and it definitely resonates with me. Juan Pablo Duarte, um, if you look up his story, I don't think there's a human being on earth that sacrificed more for his country than Juan Pablo Duarte. And he died in exile. He died in absolute poverty in Venezuela because of his fight for liberty and freedom. And I resonate very, very deeply with Juan Pablo. And I resonate very deeply with the United States Constitution and the founding fathers of that document, that amazing, I would say perfect document. As perfect as a document as a human being can create. Perfect, and as perfect as a human being, like Juan Pablo Duarte, I already know my answer. You know, I can't pretend to be anything other than what I am, which is a constitutionalist and a soldier and someone who will stand up to tyranny and persevere despite mathematically defying odds, right? The simple fact of the matter is I shouldn't even be alive right now with the amount of stress and the lack of food, the lack of medical care that I was subjected to, the lack of hope that I was subjected to, that my family was subjected to. You know, everything that I've been through in my life, there's a reason why I'm here. It's divine intervention. And I'm not going to disrespect those who came before me, and I'm not going to disrespect those who are going to come after me. And I'm not going to allow something that is repugnant to the Constitution to be upheld and to be just accepted as, you know, the norm. I'm just not willing to do it. So I'm willing to fight the good fight. And if that means I'm going down with the ship, if that means I'm falling on the sword, then that's what it means. And I just hope the people of this country will understand, because there's a good chance that this isn't the end, and we're going to have to go to a jury trial, and we're going to have to go to many of jury trials, and there's going to be many case law that's going to be decided over this, so over me and my property and everything that I stand for and represent. And I can't thank you guys enough. I can't thank you guys enough for being along for the ride. And we'll talk soon, guys. Talk very soon. I love you. Stay safe out there. And just remember, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not one event. It's not a battle. It's a war. And so wars are never ending, seemingly, and there's always a new twist and turn. And until my heart gives out, I'm having heart palpitations for the first time in my life. I'm having shortness of breath for the first time in my life over this. But I'm gonna try to exercise and take care of myself and keep stress away. But make no mistake about it, I found my true calling in life. I found my purpose in life, and that is to expose the city of Wayne, Michigan, and all of its improprieties, and to ultimately make the city of Wayne, my home, a better place to live, and hopefully to make the state and the country in which I live in, the state of Michigan and the United States, a better place. Head on a swivel, of course, always head on a swivel. But I think if they kill me, guys, I don't think it'll work out too well for them. I don't think it will. I think that would finally draw the attention, the national spotlight that this place truly, truly deserves. But I think the cat's already out of the bag, and I think Josh and I think other people are making sure of that. And so I'll do my part, of course. I'll do my part, guys. You guys do your part, and I do this for you guys, man. I mean, 90 some days in a dungeon in solitary confinement. A lot of those days were spent in solitary confinement. No medical care, sleeping on steel or concrete, having barely enough food to sustain yourself, eating beans and, the most disgusting of food. And dirty water, unsanitary conditions. And then being subjected to 24-hour home confinement, house arrest away from your house. Remanded, basically indefinitely, right? Remanded indefinitely. Having a jury trial pushed back more and more and more and more. It'll kill any person, but I'm still here. I'm still fighting the good fight for you and for this country and for myself and for the Constitution and for Juan Pablo Duarte, the father of the Dominican Republic, whose story transcends humanity. There's 3 people in my house that I have a picture of that are welcome in my house. There's 3 people: Juan Pablo Duarte, Donald Trump. Well, I'd say Charlie Kirk. We'll say 4. Juan Pablo Duarte, Donald Trump, Charlie Kirk, and then of course the Messiah, Jesus Christ. Those are the 4 people that I want you to keep in your heart and keep in your prayers. Say what you want about old Teflon Don. He truly wants what's best for this country. And as the great Rush Limbaugh used to say, sometimes you have to act absurd to illustrate the absurd. And my wife's over there giving me she's rolling her eyes at me, but we got to do some stuff today, guys, as a family. So that's all I got for you. But I love you guys, and hope this has been informative. And please consider this part of the public record. I say this with complete mental clarity and complete sobriety, and I know in my heart of hearts that what I'm doing is the right thing. And I know one day I will be vindicated, and all who fought the good fight with me will be vindicated. So thank you for your time. God bless you, and head on a swivel. You got that right, DG.